Well, the chairman, Senate Committee on Police Affairs, Abu Ibrahim, says the fear of indiscriminate arrest and detention by state governors may kill the passage of the State and Community Police Bill. Ibrahim, who made this known in an interview with journalists in Abuja, said the bill, which had passed first reading in Senate, may not get two-thirds majority to allow for a third reading and passage. He said while lawmakers from some parts of the country may vote in favor of the bill because of their control system, others may not because of fear of abuse. And for more on this, we have with us in the studio now a lawyer, Olayinka Ola Daniels. Good to have you.
Thanks for joining us.
So these are legitimate concerns, no doubt, a fear of indiscriminate arrest and detention by state governors. We've seen how some state governors have quote unquote misused the powers conferred on them constitutionally. So if this bill is passed, there are fears that they will even be further abused. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, personally, I would say I am in full support of state policing. However, is the system right for state policing in Nigeria? I've been opportune to be at, well, a different country at different time, and there's a particular country I moved from different states. You know, I was in different states, and they had a policing system in a particular state where you could carry your gun, you could put your gun just and walk around the streets and all that. Nobody's going to harass you, no police is going to harass you. And there's another state in the same country, you can't try that. And we know what is happening in such countries. But here in Nigeria, there are two factors that may not let it work. One, politics. Two, funding. Now, we know about the situation in the country. There are a number of states in Nigeria today that cannot even afford to pay salaries of their workers months. Now, do you want us to continue that with the police? Then we establish state police, then you can't afford to pay them salaries.
Do you really think they are not able to pay salaries, or is because of the lack of political will to pay salaries, or the absence of the funds indeed?
In Nigeria, out of the 36 states minus Federal Capital Territory, tell me how many of those states have something they can rely on to say this generates revenue for us, aside from relying on federal government allocation? How many of them out of the 36 that we have? Maybe if we take 9
but
out
these
of
same governors are accused of
9,
misuse of funds at the same time, doing including funds in other policies that are not trustworthy.
Let me bust your bubble. Because you are talking about state and funding. As we speak, the federal government, the budget, even under the federal government for the police, is about, in fact, police asked for 300 billion. They got 20 billion. Now, the 20 billion, how much is it released to them? Even the 20 billion we're talking about, maybe 40%, maybe 50% out of the 20. So they don't even have enough to fund at the federal government level. Now, tell me, where are we going to get money to fund that? And don't forget, we are talking about security here. Not just somebody going to work and I'm paying salary. We are talking about security here.
If you say that states cannot pay salaries of workers, talk less of police, then you wonder, the question then begs, why then create so many states if they cannot be independent? I don't need you to answer that right now, so I'm going to move on now. Okay. You said the problems militating against this state policing is policing, politics, and funding. Yeah. Now, the lawmakers fear indiscriminate arrests and detentions by the state governors when they get this state police thingy. Should this override public interest?
It shouldn't. But then, every law must have a face. I agree with you. It shouldn't override public interest. But what law? What do you call law when the law has a foundation in impunity? What do you call law that is only one person that decides what happened? Then I'm the governor of the state. Then if there are some House of Reps or senators in my states that they are not dancing to my tune, I can harass them with police, or I have some personal vengeance with some people. I can use the apparatus in my fingertips to harass anyone. Now, are we there? That's a question. As I started by saying I'm in full support of having it in a system that is not primitive, in a system that nowhere is going. But in the system we operate, the governor we are talking about, maybe a few governors may go, okay, fine, let the rule of law prevail and all that. But we know what happens. Okay, sorry, I'm going to use Lagos State also. Lagos State that I should take to be one of the top states to say, okay, rule of law should prevail, is a state where you have a governor deciding whatever he wanted to do before you now make noise and now saying, okay, let's see where, but I've done what I wanted to do. Now, if you now put the power of police into such hands, what do we see from that?
I would imagine that mechanisms should be put in place to check such excesses.
Exactly.
Because for me, really, because a lot of people talked on the forms. It's really not about the forms. I think it's about the substance. I was at a police station yesterday and I saw things and I said, no, when are we going to go beyond here? And all they were telling me, come, there's no money. There's no this. There's no that. And see, mechanism, yes. But the truth is, who are the people putting this thing in place? Like I ask, sometimes you have, if I employ you, I mean, to my company, and I have a CV from you, and that's the reason why I employ you. And if you can't meet up, why should it be there?
All right,
so if we don't have leaders among the police that are doing the right thing, and they don't even know how to go about it, aside from the funding now and the political, whatever we talk about, then seriously, we are not going anywhere.
I would have to leave it here for now because of time, but I'm very sure many analysts and maybe lawyers would definitely not agree with you on that aspect of funding, because we've seen where new governors would come in and clear the backlog of unpaid salaries. But we'll leave it here for now and continue
policing
another
is beyond
time.
just paying
We're
salary.
You're
going to talk about policing and security
Olayinka,
gadgets. You're going to buy vehicles. You're going to buy guns. You're going to buy all those things.
Thank you very much for your time with us here on TV News. Thank you.
Grateful.